Hey, friends, welcome back to the Called to Lead podcast. So, today's episode is going to be another renewal recap. So, if this is the first episode you've ever listened to, or you're not familiar with this series, essentially, I am just sharing the actual business numbers from my network marketing business specific to Saint over the last month. And I've been doing it each month of this year and will continue throughout the year. And this is essentially a part of me being super transparent and sharing the journey, hopefully, towards renewal with Saint. Because as you may or may not have heard from some of my previous episodes, Saint, about 7 years in, is now in what we call the shakeout. So I'll explain a little bit more with some of the numbers that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. But this isn't a bad thing. This is something that's to be expected. It's something that every single company goes through. It's also an amazing time to really get clear on what's working, both for my business, for other leaders, for the leaders on my team. Take note of that, shout it from the rooftops, figure out maybe what's not working, figure out ways to leverage those opportunities for growth, and really capitalize on what it looks like to align with other people who are on this mission and journey to bring not just my team, but hopefully the entire company towards renewal. So let's dive into the March renewal recap. Okay, so just to quickly review what the word renewal means to me, it is my word of the year, and it's technically based in Romans 12:2, which is do not be conformed by the pattern of this world, but instead be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And so this is a really deep message that has resonated with me and continues to as the year goes on. But it also points directly to a book that has been such a blessing to my business for the last few years. And that's called Renewal for Field Leaders by Brett Blake. And in that book, Brett talks about the different life cycles of any network marketing company. And essentially, you've got the launch phase, which is like kind of a hot mess. Then you have the hyper growth phase where it feels like anyone can do this business, right? Like you're selling and growing and it's just crazy, crazy town, right? And then you get into what's called the growth by promotion phase, which is when sales maybe don't come quite as easily. And they come usually through incentives by corporate, or, we're not allowed to do incentives ourselves in our Saint business. But if you're in a different company, you may, feel like you have to incentivize things on your own, and things just maybe don't come quite so easily. And then after that phase starts to level off and people who were used to their businesses maybe doubling and tripling, and they don't realize that this, like any other business model, is not necessarily one that's going to have inevitable, sustainable, upward trajectory, double-digit growth year over year, but it is a business that absolutely can be sustained and maintained just as well as any other business model if you treat it like a business. But what happens in this growth by promotion phase is a lot of, and I'm going to use quotation marks with leaders in quotation marks because both Brett Blake and also my mentor, Bob Heilig, they like to use that word leader, kind of carefully, because a leader is really somebody who's inspires action in others. Whereas a lot of what we are seeing in the network marketing industry or social selling is more influencer driven, sales focused marketing. So it's less centered around leadership and empowering others to do whatever they want in their business, however big, however small, but instead of selling more, growing a big following, and so on and so forth. And so when that doesn't duplicate to the teams, and when systems that used to work maybe aren't working so much now in the growth by promotion, then comes what's called the shakeout. And so that is, I believe, where we are in Saint. And it's usually kind of where there are certain leaders who, out of either fear or out of, making the best decision for their family, whatever that is, they maybe decide to stop their business, or they decide to dial it back, or they decide to go to another company, sometimes in conjunction with, sometimes instead of, and we're definitely seeing a good bit of that in Saint right now. So I did an episode recently on that. You can go back and listen. You can also listen to last week's episode of a gal, Michelle, who shared her story on why she's going all in with Saint just like me. Because guess what happens after the shakeout? Two things. You have either where if, leaders like you listening or me, don't really get a clear look on what they can do and what's working, because our business, as you'll see, still has a lot of good things happening. But if you don't highlight the good, figure out what that looks like and share it with people, refine your systems, do the chisel acronym that we've been doing, the cash, saving your cash, instilling hope in your team, leveraging innovations, leaning on the simplicity and simple systems and communication, expansion opportunities, and leadership. And again, we're going to be breaking each one of those down each month. So the next episode will be the simplicity episode if you want more breakdown with the chisel. But I digress. So if we together leverage that chisel acronym and we do all of these things, then guess what happens? We experience renewal. So that was the longest way to explain that that's my goal, and that's what I'm sharing out loud with you all today and this entire year on the podcast. So renewal can look like certainly far and above where we have been in the past. And I believe that absolutely is possible with the things that we're implementing. And so that's why I'm sharing with you guys my actual numbers along the way. So let's dive into the numbers. And the way that I share them each and every month is something that you can use to track your own business as well. And that is an acronym called W.O.R.K. W-O-R-K, because this business is work. And if you treat it like a business and you actually work your business in the right areas and you acknowledge the wins, that's what the W stands for each month or each season, the O, which is opportunities for growth and things that you can actually focus on to fix, right? The recognition of, again, the things that are working and inviting those people to share out loud. And then lastly, keeping a close eye on your KPIs or your key performance indicators. So these are going to be your actual metrics that will tell you exactly how your team or your business or your personal business is doing in this season. And, as I say in every episode, there's some really good and there's some like, okay, again, not amazing, not like crazy growth. And then there's some things that maybe aren't so great. So I'm going to be talking about all of these with you today. So the first acronym or the first letter is W, which is wins. So in each of these, I'm going to be sharing 3 with you. So I'm going to dive right into my 3 wins from March. So the first one is my personal sales. So I am a big believer that your business, especially if you want to lead your team back to renewal, it starts with you and really diving into things that you can do in your own personal business that are also things that your team can emulate. So I've done a podcast episode on this where it talks about not just focusing on the me side of your business or the them side of your business with your team stuck in management mode, but instead focusing on the we, which is focusing on actions that you can take that can inspire others. And so I was so excited that I did this. I had a big party last month. I continued with my YouTube channel, and I had a killer sales month, and it was more than double my personal sales from last March, which I was super excited about. So I was in the highest commission bracket, which for us at Saint is 40%. And I also checked off another qualification month of our reward, actually not one, but 2 reward trips coming up, one to the Mediterranean and one to Maui. So my personal sales last month, I was so excited. So I'm going to start with that as the first win. And I'll share the actual numbers at the end. So the second win is the sales per active teamie. So I track, and you'll see this in the KPIs, both the sales per teamie, meaning take your total team and take your total sales and divide by the total number of teamies. Well, I do the same thing with the ones who are actually actively working their business, because it's a fact that you and your business are going to have people that just decide this isn't right for them, or maybe it's not right for them in this season or even in the last month, right? And so when you look at the ones who actually are all in and who are choosing to actively work their business, and you look at that as a screenshot, it can be a really powerful way to show you, for those who are actually working, what that looks like. And you guys, our sales per active teamie in March was $1,671. $1,671. You guys, that is over $500 in commissions on average for those who are actively working their business, and that's only on their own personal sales. That's not including any downline commissions. That's just their personal sales, which puts them in about the 30% commission bracket, which is over $500. I mean, you guys, that is mind-blowing to me, because I don't know anybody who couldn't use an additional $500 this month. So if you're sitting on the sideline and you're not doing the things, maybe you're stuck in consumption mode, just listening to my podcast or others, or maybe you're living in fear of putting yourself out there still, or fear of what if something happens with your business. Well, I can tell you, those people who are still going all in with their Saint business are absolutely still crushing it in this business. And even if you take out my couple outliers, because I do have two sellers that sell over like 100K, I think they both sold over 100K last in March. And so even if I take those two outliers out, you guys, it's still over 1,300. It's 1,383 in personal sales average per active teenie. That's huge, you guys, huge. So that absolutely could be you. That could be providing for your family this month. And there is nothing that can hold you back from doing it if you just focus on doing the things that are clearly working around you. And just ask your teamies, hey, what's working for you? That's what I do. And there's lots to learn from what's working. So that's my second win, is the sales per active teenie. So then the third win is something that I kind of touched on in the last renewal recap episode because we rolled it out. But now at the end of March, we have wrapped up an artist 3 training, which was called Follow the Yellow Brick Road, where it was our goal to develop the foundational leadership rank within our team. And it was a huge success because we handpicked some of these leaders, just like what I was talking about, who are seeing results both in sales and enrollments personally. And we invited them to share their wisdom in a few key areas every Monday through Friday, all through March. And not only was it amazing success to watch them share their brilliant wisdom, but it worked. We had I think more than triple. Let me get the actual numbers of the foundation ranks for you real quick. Yes, we had 7 brand new artist 3s, which I was thrilled with because I think we only had 2 last month. So that's more than 3 times the number of foundational rank leaders. And it also resulted in some higher ranks. We had 2 artist 4s and an artist 5. So rank advancements definitely grew last month, and that was a huge win. And I think that's thanks to the Follow the Yellow Brick Road, and also really kicking off and being halfway through our higher level training, which was called Replicate Your Results. So I'm going to take that as a big win. It was awesome, and I already am seeing, again, we're kind of reaping the fruit of those efforts, and they're really just meant to be a sowing opportunity. So I'm excited to see these gals rocking and rolling in their business. So next up, let's talk about the O, which stands for Opportunities for Growth, AKA the not so good. So you got to call this out, right? I'm positive Patty, sometimes to a fault, but there's always things that you can work on. And certainly in a season like this, where there's going to be some numbers that maybe aren't so awesome. And so one of those numbers that is going to be the first opportunity for growth is our enrollment is slightly down. Actually, I think it's kind of a lot down. Let me see. let me go to my KPIs really quickly. New artists. Yep, it's down 42% from last March. So we still did have 85. We had 85 new artists join, which is not terrible. It's just not what we usually do. And so, let me just double check that math real quick. And so again, what this says to me is that I think that people in this environment can be a little bit afraid to maybe bring someone into this. But I'm telling you, in looking at the numbers, the ones, again, that are joining, that are selling, and aren't getting distracted by the fear and, or shiny object syndrome of other companies, the ones who are staying focused and are just doing the dang thing and not realizing that someone that joins tomorrow has exactly the same opportunities as we've always had, with an amazing product to make, again, who wouldn't want to make $500 on average if they're actively working their business in this month, right? What new artist would not want to do that? And they absolutely have that capability still. So I think this is a sign that people are a little bit scared. And so that's where we need to go back to instilling that hope and the, simplicity of the systems and all of the things. So that's the first opportunity for growth, is working on the enrollment. And again, that starts with you as the leader. So the second opportunity for growth is the percentage that was actually active on our team. Also not amazing. Now this number that I'm going to share with you will definitely make you feel better if you feel like, quote, no one's doing anything. Only less than 20% of our team was active, meaning selling its 240 CV, which is like $350 in the US and almost $500 in Canada, is what's considered active in the business. And only 20% of people did that. But what do I always say when we're coaching? Really, what you need to be focusing on are the 20% who are generating at least 80% of your business all the time. So it just becomes a little bit more clear in this environment who is still in the game. And once again, those who actually are active are crushing it in their business and they're doing just as well, if not better, than in years and seasons past. So there's still just the same opportunity as before. You just have to be able to focus and go all in. So that'll make you feel better if you have, even half of your team is getting active. Know that that's really good in this season. So don't look at it as like a glass half empty. Look at it as the reality and something that you can absolutely work with, because those are the people you can celebrate. Those are the people you can partner with and link arms with. And I know that those numbers will improve. So that's my second opportunity for growth. And then lastly, and this is totally on me, and when I saw this number just today, actually, I was like horrified. I only have 4 of my 50 direct artists that are directly enrolled to me that have purchased their conference ticket to Over the Rainbow in September. And you guys, this is unacceptable because it's in a lot of my girls are Georgia girls, and it's in Atlanta, which is so exciting. And if there's one shortcut, and there are no shortcuts in this business, but if there was one shortcut to this business, it's absolutely getting yourself, which I have my ticket, but getting yourself and as many of your teamies to come to your company's annual reunion. And you guys, I just did a training in Replicate Your Results on this just yesterday, and the numbers are astounding. So I did a little analysis on one of our previous conferences called Dream, where at that conference I had 42 people attend from my team, and we took a big, picture of all of us, of course, and we were just kind of getting rolling and getting going in the business. But since then, over half of that group had reached the top 1% of or higher in Saint. Over half. Now, granted, it's taken 6 years because it's been 6 years since that. But that's what happens when, if you look at the company as a whole, only 1% of people are going to get there. When you look at my team of who actually made that sacrifice, that investment of their time, had a blast while doing it, loved every minute of it, and most of them haven't missed another one since, over half of them have reached what is normally the top 1% of the company. That's insane. And also what's really interesting is only 24% of them 6 years later had quit their business. And that is huge, because if you've been tracking with my numbers, for me, it's about 1 to 1.5% a month, which translates to like 10 to 15% per year. So that would be more like 60 something percent would have quit, but instead it's only 24%. And I think when you factor in maybe an additional, I think it was like 10% that had just stayed at that foundation, or like not even the foundation leadership rank, but just the first rank, it winds up being, I think, like 60 something or 70% maybe that had reached a leadership rank or higher, which is usually only 10% of the company. So essentially it boils down what the results on your team look like when you can get your teamies to come with you to reunion. And it's win-win, you guys. It's fun for them. It's the best investment they could ever do in their personal business, because they're going to learn makeup trips. They're going to learn, leadership tips and tricks. They get to actually see and experience, the corporate culture and vision, which is amazing. And the best part, they get to connect with other people who are doing the same thing as them. And they get inspired. They feel like they're a part of something bigger. And you guys, you absolutely can't miss it. So guess what's going to be my big focus this month? Getting my teamies to reunion, because 4 is not going to cut it. Come on, guys. That even means some of my top leaders, because I think I have like 8 or 10 leaders of my directly enrolled that are artist 3 or higher, meaning at the top 10% of the company. So you girls need to get on it, because if you don't get your ticket, your teamie's not going to do it. And I know I have got to get on this myself. So that's my last opportunity for growth. So let's move on to recognition. So because this is kind of my team page now, this is where I can really shout out some gals who are really doing very special things in their business. So the first one that I want to shout out is Tanya Jones. So she is another one that I'll never forget when she joined. And she was like, okay, Heather, I don't really want to do anything with this business. I don't really want to build a team. I just really love makeup and honestly kind of just want to get the kit, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Well, about a year after that, she came with me to Bob Heilig's leadership conference. And really, that's, I think, when the seeds of like wanting something a little bit more from this business were planted. And since then, she has ranked to Artist 3 the top 10% of the company. But I'm so proud of her and want to shout her out because not only did she drive hours by herself to attend our love reunion, which was kind of at the end of February, beginning of March. I think it was actually early March, to stay with a bunch of people that she had. I think I might have been the only one she had met. Maybe, no, I think there were a couple other ones that she had met that were there. But still, she did that and she got fired up again. And last month, in kind of a tough month, she was paid at her high rank, which is amazing. And she had a really, not bad, pretty good, strong sales month herself as well. So Tanya, girl, you are amazing. And I see you. I see how incredible of a leader you are. Her team is rocking and rolling, and she leveraged and was excited and, is diving into replicate your results for herself, but leverage follow the yellow brick road for her teamies. And for all of those reasons, I'm so proud of Tanya. She's amazing. So congratulations, girl, on an amazing month. So next up is Rebecca Yarbrough. You guys, so I do a postcard. Some of y'all might know this every single month. I thought I might have one. Oh yeah, here's one. I do it for my directs. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this. If you're listening, you cannot see this, but I do a postcard of my top 12 directs. And I do one that is, and there's Tanya, by the way. This is an older one, but if you want to see cute Tanya, there she, it's blurry, I think. Anyway, there's Tanya. But I kind of stalk in my back office when I'm looking at both my directs, but also the entire team. I sort it by top in sales. And you guys, this girl, Rebecca Yarbrough, I was cheering on because she was solidly in my top 12 all month. She was kind of right there at the end, and I was cheering her on so big because this is a gal who speaking of conference, I remember having this like amazing conversation with the power of what was possible for her back in San Antonio. She had already done big things in her business, but watching how much she has grown in all the things, in her personal development, her confidence in herself, her positivity, her leadership skills, her personal business. Her personal business, all of the above. You guys, she's crushed it. And she was in my top 12 in sales with incredibly strong personal sales. But even better than that, it is duplicating on her team. She is a hairstylist. She does a lot of her business in person. And that seems to work for her girlies as well, because she's got a lot of girls who are rocking and rolling in sales and leadership. And even despite, having some, tricky stuff on her team within the last couple of months, she has so much momentum happening over there, and it's so fun to watch. So Rebecca, I'm so proud of your amazing work last month. You are doing incredible things, my friend. Keep it up. So last but definitely not least is someone who I have not had a chance to actually connect with yet. I did send her a message, but I'm still going to shout her out because what girlfriend did is pretty huge. So her name is, and she essentially double ranked from artist 1 to artist 3 in 1 month, which is so stinking exciting. So in fact, I kind of did a little stalking, and I'm dying to hear it from her words herself, but I did a little Facebook stalking, and I could see that she joined about 10 days later. Within 2 weeks, she did an in-person event to launch her business. She promoted it on her Facebook page. And actually that night, I believe, 2 people enrolled. A couple days later, another gal enrolled. And guess what? She helped all 3, well, I think all 3, at least 2 of the 3 get to their first rank, which helped her rank to artist 3 in a month, which is just amazing. Y'all, that's huge. If you can do it in 3 months, that is like goals. I would say that would be like someone's goal if they were joining to do it in 3 months. That's the mark of a future rock star leader right there. So I can't wait to watch what Erica does. And I love that she did it in a way, again, that anybody can do. She just invited her Facebook friends to a little pop-up to share her new favorite makeup brand. Literally, that's all. I'd say that's all she did. That's what I saw publicly that she did. And it was enough to launch her business and help 3 other ladies launch their businesses as well and reach the top 10% in less than a month. So congratulations, Erica. You're crushing it. I can't wait to meet you and hear more about what's working for you. Okay, so next up, we are going to wrap this up with the KPI. So this is the actual numbers. So first of all, total team sales was not bad, y'all. 1.7 million. So when I saw that number, I was like, dang, that's awesome. Anywhere near 2 million, I'm really happy. Well, 2 million is really good, but anywhere just near that is good. Now, it was 18% down from last March, which is to be expected in the shakeout, but it's not like it went down worse than what March or February was. So it's not terrible. It's probably just like pretty typical because not everything is going to be straight up, okay? So it was 18% down for March, but it was 17.4% up from February, from the month prior. So sales were up last month, which is awesome. And I already mentioned that my sales were over double, so 142% higher than last March, which was 4,699. Just solidly in the, well, I say solidly, I kind of snuck in the 40% commission bracket, but I got there, which is exciting, and got another month qualification. So next up is total artist. The total artist is 4,561, which is 1% higher than where we were last March. So again, our team size is not going backwards, not yet, and I hope that's not the case, but we're holding on strong. And in total, I had 49 directs that personally enrolled to me. Then let's talk about total new artists. So total new artists was 85, which is definitely down from enrollments, like I said, 42% from last March. So not a great thing. Definitely an opportunity for growth there. I did enroll one personally. We also had 64 ladies quit, which actually is not that bad. It's really not that bad. And that is half the number that quit last March. So honestly, apparently people were leaving, more people were jumping ship last March than they are this March. So I think more people are just kind of sitting around and waiting, sitting on the sidelines, maybe in a little bit of fear, but they're not necessarily jumping ship because obviously what we have is really special. So it was 1.4%, which is about like normal. Then rank advancements. So we had 77 total. We had 7 of those were our foundation rank that I am focusing on. So I was really thrilled to see an improvement in that area. That was a goal. And I didn't have any of my directs rank, but I have some that are super close. Then next up is average sales per teamie, which we talked about the average sales per active teamie. But of course, I also track average sales per teamie, and that was $291, which is the 25% commission bracket. And so that's about $422 in the US, which is about $105 in your pocket, which again, I don't know anybody who doesn't need a extra $100. And that's if you take the entire team, 80% of which were not active, you guys. That's crazy. $100 in your pocket commission on average. Mind blown in the US. In Canada, it's even higher. That same CV contributes to $582 in sales, which is $146. So almost $150 in Canada. Huge, you guys. That is a very encouraging number still. So we already said the percentage active, 19.7. Don't want to talk about it, but I'll talk about it. I'll be honest. Then we talked about sales per active teamie, over 1671. So over $500 in commission on average. And even if you take, again, those 2 outlier sellers, that's 1383. Amazing. And then last, but shockingly not least, I'm like, what happened? I gained 557 new customers. And so you might add, how did that happen? And I was thinking the same thing. So I had to do a little bit of digging. And let me see how many were actually my customers while I'm doing this. But it actually happened because in Saint, we have something kind of special that if an artist decides that she no longer wants to do this business, then all of her customers do roll up to her mama, her Saint mama. And so that was me. And for 2 of my girlies, that totaled, oh my goodness, I can't do the math in my head. Hang on. Okay, so of the 557 new customers, 543 rolled up to me from 2 of my former leaders, which I was sad to see that they weren't deciding to do the business. However, they haven't really done much in a long time. And so as much as I'm sad to see them go, I'd rather them, and I talked about this on last month's, I'd rather them not continue paying the back office fee and step out of that role, whatever's best for their family. And so now I have 543 new ladies that I will be connecting with. I am going to be using Project Broadcast just to send them all a message, and I can do it to where I can, for example, I won't name names, but I can say, hi, and I can use their first name because I'll have their information, and I can just introduce myself and let them know that their mentor is no longer an artist, but that I was her Saint Mama and that I'm happy to help them. And so I'm going to do that in conjunction with a little customer survey all together. And so I think that connecting with my customers in this way and introducing myself to all 543 of these new same customers, I think will be a really special way. And I can't wait to see what that does for my April numbers. So as much as I'm sad to see them go, it is a blessing to be able to have new customers to be able to serve and, hopefully be a little bit more of a focused Saint Mama for them in their business. And that does leave 14 new customers for myself, which I was thrilled with. They came from my awesome Rockin' in-person class and some referrals and from YouTube. So I will take it from the new customers last month. So you guys, I hope this was helpful. I love sharing the numbers. I love tracking the numbers. And I hope that using the W.O.R.K acronym is something that you can do in your business as well and kind of steal those KPIs for yourself in tracking your business. So thank you guys. Stay tuned for more renewal recap numbers coming up. Bye.